in a lot of things. I apologize of watching this fucking show. This show was every part of everything that I was not anticipating on SmackDown. Oh, you thought I was gonna say it was good, it was a nice intro because we're in Fox. It was trash. Except that blue carpet shit. The overuse of Bray Wyatt over the promo saying he's literally got a feud now with Seth Rollins. The show of complete absolute no care and just trying to think we can get over anything in just our first intro showing off Becky Lynch, we'll show off Seth Rollins, and how fans already watch USA. So what was the point of this on Fox? Oh, because more UFC and boxing viewers are on this, and guys that watch sports, and plus the XFL's coming soon, so shut the fuck up. This show sucked. And as much as I don't want to say it, it did suck. Felt like there was no continuity around the air. There was very little uniqueness anywhere. The camera angles sucked. I hate the way they were jointly trying to do this amateuristic style of trying to make it look like a sort of different event than the Monday Night Raw. And still making it a Raw recap was the most exciting thing than replaying what Brock Lesnar did to Dominic and Rey Mysterio. And just for Cain Velasquez to come in the last night after Kofi in the main event of the match, that Kofi Kingston shockingly lost because they were running out of time. And we know Brock Lesnar would beat the shit out of Kofi. Do you really think Kofi would last at least 5 minutes with Brock Lesnar in a world title match? And this same guy who beat at least Kevin Owens, Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton in the same year gets to face off against Brock Lesnar that mincemeated over that type of competition, bled out Randy Orton and Kofi and Daniel Bryan. So whoever brought that into the fray, of course Kofi would lose the world title. I don't know how the fuck you can even book or at least create a storyline with Kofi Kingston winning the world, beating Brock Lesnar. As much as a stupid move it would be making Brock Lesnar become world champion again, I'd rather see that than anything else. And anything that involves a different type of feud involving Brock Lesnar, thanks to going into Hell in a Cell, and they have nothing for Hell in a Cell, thanks Kofi Kingston can't sell hotcakes to anybody. And that fucking ladder match. Where's the storytelling? Wasn't this supposed to be a career-ending match for one of these guys if they lose? Shane is still a McMahon, so this would sacrifice nothing. All it was supposed to get Kevin Owens out that dead after what happened back at fucking Clash of Champions and in the tournament in the Clash of Champions match. Fuck me, this match was so mediocre. It felt like they were trying to use Money in the Bank segment moves. Thanks, he put the ladder on the ladder on the barricade and ring apron. Of course, somebody would get slammed on that. A powerbomb from the bottom, from in between the bottom ropes of the turnbuckle, and powerbombed Shane McMahon there. Of course, he did his elbow drop from the outside to the commentator table because that's the only thing amazing Shane McMahon can do at this point, other than his shooting star press, his smooth ways of trying to transition into moves, and the way he can still sell like making an actual fight. You guys were supposed to make a fight, and these are like one of the best guys to make a convincing storytelling fight that could cost a man career. Don't get me started on the opening segment, because it was just Vince McMahon proud to just shout out any wrestling phrase since the only thing he knows, thinks he has PTSD and fucking Alzheimer's, doing this shit for over 30 fucking years. No one gave a fuck about this show. I didn't either. And I'm not trying to rant because it was something I want. They had fucking CGI. I see reviews about it. They say, "Oh, it looks completely different from Raw." It looks ugly as fuck. The CGI looks terrible. Nobody asked for CGI. Do you think they gave a fuck about the stage back at WrestleMania 35? That looked like shit. It was just a gigantic TV with a wrestling ring. That's not fucking cool. That's not something memorable. SmackDown stage looks alright, but I don't know what they're gonna do come Hell in a Cell. They're either gonna use Raw or the previous stages they used for Raw and SmackDown for Hell in a Cell. Because obviously WWE ran out of ideas since they even received over $4.5 billion to even get Fox to get their fucking shit in, because USA was not drawing the diamond. They were pulling 1.4s, and I think they're even trying to get into CM Punk, and I'd rather have CM Punk and have him as a commentator than to see whatever the fuck they were doing on SmackDown. They had this little interview. They had Becky Lynch try to like form words and take over The Rock's catchphrases when trying to bury Baron Corbin as he's king of the ring. So Baron Corbin that has no charisma, no interest into the fans at all, and he's not even a sign of authority, or at least that captivating of a heel that he can actually gain heat. He's just get out of my TV heat. He's a guy that you know that's irrelevant, but at least has a cool finisher. I'm saying that he's a bald test. He's tall, he's pale, and he can wrestle a big man. Anything else that involves him charismatically, or at least an interesting wrestler, that's out of the fray, and The Rock and Becky Lynch exposed that. And Becky Lynch is so fucking annoying. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch deserve each other, because not only they're just interesting, they're paper champions that obviously have no way of conveying an interesting tale of anything involving wrestling. All they're gonna bring back is, oh, what happened and take over Brooklyn. Oh my god, take over Brooklyn. They had a nearly 5-star match and they changed the women's division. That the only thing relevant about them, oh, there's a Total Divas. Oh, they had an Evolution pay-per-view just last November that nobody watched because it was in Nassau Coliseum and barely anybody fucking tunes in an all-female pay-per-view. Except women, that female alumni look way better than the females in this roster. And and they had a tag team match involving Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and oh my god, the 4 horsewomen are up in the tag team, and oh my god, they're facing one another at the pay-per-view. And they couldn't even sell that, and the best moves were literally Charlotte coming out with a moonsault on both women. Becky Lynch trying to think that she's an impactful wrestler, with all she can do that's impactful is that stupid-ass little exploder suplex and then a missile drop kick that barely missed. Sasha Banks that can barely even kick, let alone do anything that looks like it can hurt a human being other than a few submissions that she calls to face. And Bayley thinking that she's still a captivating heel, even though I don't mind her trying to think she's a role model, but she's a heel shtick. They take it like they haven't done that before with Kurt Angle back in his day when he was in the main roster. Oh, God. Is this supposed to sell Hell in a Cell? Nobody even remembered Hell in a Cell. The only thing exciting for the past few weeks was literally just a premiere of Raw and SmackDown. Hell in a Cell is just there for something on the network. That's not even supposed to be sold as a fucking pay-per-view at this moment. And I apologize for the cussing, but I'm sorry. If someone gives me this complaint that kids watch my fucking shit, holy shit, piss, cunt, fuck, pussy, fart in your mom's mouth. I don't care. You're watching men in spandex. You were listening to me complain about men in spandex wrestling every fucking week for the last dollars on the dime. And the only people that are making an actual difference in the world don't even work in the company full time anymore. So I don't want to hear it. Oh, wow. None of these matches were good. None of them. Because we know they were just supposed to be just plot synopsises or just random matches for matches that we're going to have in Hell in a Cell. Rollins versus Nakamura? That only lasted like a few minutes until Bray Wyatt came and attacked Seth Rollins on the stage. And Eric Rowan facing off against Roman Reigns in a lumberjack match. Why was this sold when we know Roman Reigns was just going to win so he can just get a bit of momentum come Hell in a Cell in a tag match? And Brock Lesnar. Of course, Kofi Kingston has nothing to do, thinks he can't feud with anybody. And if I see Orton and Kingston again, and I have to hear the word stupid and Kofi Kingston's terrible, boring-ass way how to actually convey that he's a main eventer. Oh, WrestleMania 35 was awesome when nobody can even remember what was the biggest move he did in some of his feuds he had with Ziggler, Owens, Bryan, and Orton. And he beaten all those dudes. And the coolest thing I saw him do was jump through the steel cage when he beaten Ziggler. And no one gave a fuck about that match. Thanks, Kofi Kingston can't even sell that. Oh, I'm in the steel cage match. I'm supposed to actually feel like I'm more of a threatening wrestler. And he looks like the underdog anywhere he goes, even if he holds the world title. So there's no point in making him the world champion. So I'm happy that Brock Lesnar took the belt away from him. And I'm happy that it lasted under a minute. You know why? Because no one gives a fuck about this. I'd rather see Zack Ryder hold a belt for under 24 hours than see Kofi Kingston hold it since April of this year to this October. What the fuck? Wow, I'm even shocked that he held the belt for that long. Everybody is. Because nobody even remembered who was WWE champion. All people are going to remember is, oh, Rollins. Oh, he beat Lesnar twice on pay-per-view. That's cool. Oh, what happened? Braun Strowman? Ooh, what happened? Lashley? Ooh, what happened? Dominic got his ass beaten by Brock Lesnar and so did Mysterio. Oh, Cain Velasquez came on SmackDown. That's awesome. Oh, so did Fury. What the fuck? And the biggest thing going on was the Legends. The Legends that were so-called promised for SmackDown was The Undertaker, The Rock. Where the fuck was The Undertaker and Steve Austin? God fucking damn it! Why? I would mark out if Funaki was wearing his old SmackDown T-shirt, or you gave him the Fox SmackDown T-shirt. He said SmackDown #1 because that was like he was literally the most over guy in the mid card back in the day. Fucking hell! You couldn't even bring back old SmackDown superstars like Gregory Helms, MVP. JBL, one of your longest reigning WWE champions back on the SmackDown brand. Chavo Guerrero, Vicky Guerrero, Teddy Long, that was notably for being the GM of SmackDown for several years. John Laurinaitis. You couldn't bring back any of the guys that used to, make Raw, SmackDown watchable, like Edge or Kane, Christian. The fuck is wrong with you people? And all we had was a world title match that lasted under a fucking millisecond. The Becky Lynch thinking that she's over, or anybody wants to watch a Hell in a Cell match involving Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, and then a Hell in a Cell match involving Bray Wyatt the Fiend, with the only cool thing he put in his arsenal is a mandible claw and a fucking... Whoo! Whoo! I'm so excited. I'm so pumped that I came from spending $60 on a pay-per-view so I can watch The Rock and Steve Austin to come in to 2019, over 20 years later, and I get to watch Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins fight in a red Hell in a Cell for $10. You know what I'm getting with this, right? SmackDown was mediocre. This gets a 4 out of 10. This screamed the 4 out of 10. There was no good notable wrestling matches to be seen on this show. If you couldn't convey a huge, exciting thing as a ladder match, and the cool move used was to see as soon as Kevin Owens got splashed, Shane McMahon in between that ladder, you can literally see the chips of wood used for the ladder. That they look like they spray painted silver and put some metallic parts on it for the ladder, for the supporting stubs, or something like that. Fucking the Bray Wyatt segment wasn't that cool. All they did was do Bray Wyatt, of course, ripping apart toys like he did a few nights ago on Raw when he broke that Rollins figure in half. And then all he did was break down that fucking bunny using Fury just so we can mimic what's gonna happen and try to taunt Rollins. When obviously, if he wins on October, that hopefully he does lose on October, because I don't want to see Rollins hold that Universal title anymore because it's already devalued as fuck. Even your first ever Universal Champion's back on NXT. And nobody has been able to ever build up any level of prestige for the Universal title. For all this time, even if you put it on Raw and SmackDown, and even if you bring it back permanently on Raw, the Universal title has never done its thing. And that's supposed to push prestige world champions, or at least the main eventers that you want to push in your company. Finn Balor, devalued, has been irrelevant, has no other interesting conveying character other than he does that takeover shtick with the Demon Balor shit. Kevin Owens doesn't do much except he's a great mid-card act, and he can be good whenever he has the right guy with him in the ring. Oh wow, we gave the Universal title nearly 50-year-old Goldberg. That's awesome. What the fuck? We gave it to Brock Lesnar for as long as CM Punk's reign with the WWE title, and he only had a number of title defenses that I can count in two hands. That's terrible. And fucking wow. Rollins hold it twice and beating Brock Lesnar on pay-per-view. Tell me one feud that it was interesting that Rollins actually defended his world title. The only thing interesting conveyed with Rollins holding belts and having interesting feuds have been devalued. He buckle-bombed Sting and fucked up the rest of his wrestling career. He couldn't wrestle anymore. Dean Ambrose has gotten a rival promotion, and fucking John Cena's off making more money than most of the guys than Jinder Mahal right now that used to be world champion. And he's gotten a fucking contract that that pays more than Braun Strowman. That's sad as fuck. Somehow Jinder Mahal is more valued in the company than Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre and Bobby fucking Lashley. I gotta chill. We know the show wasn't supposed to be perfect. And as much as I want to rag on this as much as possible, it did its thing. It introed the show. It showed most of the characters that were going to be there to watch because there's going to be a draft coming next Friday. I totally get what WWE trying to do, but it was just not good enough because people that still watch your show, watch your fucking show, and you didn't even bring up most of an introduction, other than you brought up some superstars like Hulk Hogan, Mark Henry, Goldberg, Lita, and Trish Stratus were on the commentary table, were in the front row, and they were even to get their 2 cents in and try to sell you SmackDown. Not even the Undertaker and Steve Austin were there in the show, and Jeff Hardy got fucking arrested, so he couldn't even come back. What the fuck is wrong with these people? What were you? And the reason why in the hell we get pay-per-views still like Hell in the Cell, that's just the name of the stipulation of the match. Like, doy, the fans know what the fuck a Hell in a Cell match is. Hell in a Cell isn't a phrase. Hell in a Cell isn't a conveyment of what's happening in a feud. Hell in a Cell is just a match. What's next, WWE? Last Man Standing. Oh, that's a cool name, but it's a wrestling match stipulation. So it's a triple threat match. So it's Fatal 4-Way that you made a pay-per-view back in 2010 that only had like 4 matches that conveyed a Fatal 4-Way. And fucking Roadblock makes no sense. Fastlane makes no sense. Stomping Grounds makes 0 sense, and I don't think barely anybody even tuned in to watch. And watching this entire show just proves to me how much WWE has a lot of growing pains to do, and how much I disagree with your reasonings to bring back a football league for your lack of even conveying a wrestling audience, even though people would rather go back and watch Impact or New Japan, Ring of Honor, or AEW. And I want to make sure that they move out that phase because I think WWE is still the biggest promotion to watch, and there should be reasons because they have a lot of tremendous talent. Even though they look like they ignored like Mustafa Ali, somehow Nakamura is just an afterthought, even though he's the Intercontinental Champion. Daniel Bryan just associates with fucking Roman Reigns, other than Eric Rowan turned his back on him. Fuck you. The very little storyline for something that lasted 2 months, and oh my god, Becky Lynch ain't shit, and the SmackDown Women's title fucking sucks. Come on. Come on, man. You know this show sucked. You know from your heart of hearts you would rather remember what happened in fucking Raw a few nights ago than whatever happened on Friday, other than, oh, it's on Fox, cool. So, that's my take on it. SmackDown gets a fucking 4 out of 10 or a 3. I don't care which. Either way, it's incredibly below average, and you shouldn't waste your time to even rewatch it, other than, oh, cool, SmackDown's on Raw with their little fucking Sunday Night Football-ass intro. And I don't think they even had Pyro, and fuck off with the Steams. Roman Reigns always doing the little punch thing for a Superman punch. Yeah, the guys UFC used to stun niggas. Not even an interesting finishing move. What the fuck is with the show? Oh my god. I'm about to lose my head. Thank you for watching. I'm about to grab some fucking Tylenol. Subscribe down below, like, comment, and if this show keeps happening, you see me lose my fucking mind. Thank you for watching.